It's Levack and Goss on 104.5 The Team.
Just finishing the debate. Are the Giants crazy to call Jordan Raanan? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ready for him to fight Jordan Raanan because we got him on the phone. Jordan, I'm so used to you fighting with the Giants, Jordan. Listen to me over here.
No, all good, man. I'm in good graces now.
It's a Coughlin moving on, but now you're not only in good graces with them, you're part of the ESPN family. We love you. We're reading your updates all the time. Odell Beckham Jr., they call him out publicly. Eli, Ben McAdoo, both saying he's going to get himself in trouble. He needs to calm down. Is calling him out publicly the wrong way to handle Odell Beckham Jr.?
Yeah, I don't think that's the best way to do it in this case. Now, I mean, Ben McAdoo definitely. I mean, first of all, they're both calculated guys. So Ben McAdoo, he was waiting for that question, and he wanted to send a message by saying exactly what he said in the word that he said that everybody's going to kind of pick up on and harp on now. Pretty much for perpetuity is distraction. So, yeah, that one was definitely calculated. I'm not sure if that's the best way to go about it. Eli, on the other hand, I think last night, he really just said, I mean, didn't he just say what everyone in the world knows?
Well, yeah.
I mean, in a way, like, I think he just passed it on. Like, he was just talking about it, and he kind of just threw that in there. Like, because that was like towards the end of his answer. Like, he was just talking about how, the officials are watching him closely, and, this is, partly his own doing, and then it's like, and he just, I think, assumed that everyone in the world kind of knew that already.
Jordan Raanan, he's the national reporter for ESPN. He covers the Giants. So, Jordan, you see these guys every day. Did you see anything that leads you to believe OBJ is going to get this and stop letting people get in his head?
Well, the fact that, look, all the attention was on him last week, right? And granted, it was a minor thing. He slammed his helmet against the kicking net, and he yelled on the sideline, which in, normal football terms is really not that big a deal. But the reality is, like Eli Manning said, this guy had the problems last year. He's had his on-field instances. There was a game, and there was that Carolina game that just doesn't go away. I mean, that was the end of last year. It doesn't just go away. That's something he has to deal with. That's something there will be eyes on you, everything you do. So, fine. He slams his helmet against the kicking net. It comes back and slaps him in the face. It was more funny, I think, that it actually happened and that became such a big deal. Then Ben McAdoo said it was a distraction, so now it's amplified even more. And to come out there again and, he probably did get hit a little late on the play. I understand his gripe. But he just has to know, he just has to put it down and go back to the huddle. He just has to go back to the huddle and pretend like it didn't happen. It's not, just play his game. Don't get into that stuff. He is on double secret probation. That's the way it is. And he just needs to know that. And so you just go back and you play. If you want to complain about it after the game, nobody's going to, it's no big, then nobody's going to go and say anything about it. The guy hit me late. I don't know why they're not calling these penalties. That's fine. Go ahead. Do it that way. But you got to keep your composure during the game because now guys have to come up to him. They have to calm him down. This coach is going up to him. That coach is coming up to him. It's just unnecessary stuff. And when you look at it, you say, he just had, on top of that, he had his worst game. He had another drop. That's 3 straight games with drops for Odell Beckham. So how much is this stuff now affecting his play? That's the real problem. If it starts really affecting his play, which it did against Carolina last year, because he dropped 2 passes in the first half of that game, which he rarely does. I just looked it up. He had 6 drops all last year. 2 were in the first half of that game. Now he already has 3 this year in 4 games, and he's kind of gotten into it in all 3 of those games, the guy. So you're starting to look at it and say, hey, this could be, or looks like it's affecting his play. This is not good for the Giants. It's not good for Odell Beckham. And it's going to be something that he needs to get straightened out. Someone just needs to tell him, and he needs to get into his head. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Don't get into it with anybody.
And, Jordan, that's the interesting...
Even if they hit you, even if they hit you, let your teammates, let everyone else take care of that for you.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part. And that's the interesting part because we've talked to former New York Giants that said certain coaches wouldn't let those antics happen on the sidelines. They say, "What are you doing?" And someone would grab him. But is that the reason, I guess, Odell Beckham Jr. and all of his antics, is he treated differently than any New York Giant player since you've been covering the team? Have they been using just kind of kid gloves with him when it comes to the media and who he talks to and what he has to do?
I mean, I would a little bit. Odell Beckham runs the show. I mean, he's a star. He actually got put in a situation that was kind of rare. I mean, if you think about it, they had to start protecting him because this guy blew up in a matter of a second. You know, it's one thing to be a first-round pick and to be a significant player, and it's one thing to all of a sudden make a catch in one game in the middle of your rookie year and all of a sudden be a worldwide star. So they had to, in a way, kind of shield him and protect him, and in the end, it might have ended up backfiring on him. And you know, now they do walk on eggshells, it seems, with Odell Beckham. Tom Coughlin seemed to, treat him differently and be very cautious about how he went about getting his point across to Odell and making sure he talked to him about certain things. And I think Ben McAdoo is a little more, a little less in the fact that he wants to talk to everybody. He's more open to talking to, it seems, everybody, and he wants to talk out everything, and that sort of seems to be his organizational philosophy. And rather than Tom Coughlin was more of a dictatorship.
Jordan Raanan, he covers the Giants for ESPN. He's also a good friend of the show here, Levack and Goz, 104.5 The Team. So, Jordan, is Odell Beckham Jr. the biggest problem with the Giants, or is there something bigger?
There's something bigger. They're just not playing well enough offensively. I mean, Eli Manning has 4 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions. He has 5 turnovers. That's just not going to get it done. They have to find ways to get the ball to their wide receivers. I think that is a big thing. The strength of this team is supposed to be what? Their offense, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're averaging, 18 points a game?
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, you're not going to win many games in the NFL averaging 18 points a game unless you have the Denver Broncos defense. And their defense is definitely improved, but they don't have a top defense. They need that offense to score a lot of points. They need that offense to get on track, and it's the entire passing offense. I just don't think it's just Odell Beckham. I think Eli Manning needs to play better as well. I think that's a big thing. He looked very skittish to me last night. Very uncomfortable in the pocket. I mean, he was throwing the ball so quick on some plays to get it out of his hands. He needs to play better than he did last night. In order for the Giants to win road games against really good teams in the NFL, Eli Manning has to play really well, and he didn't play really well last night.
We'll continue to look towards the future here for the Giants. What's the status of running back Rashad Jennings for Week 5?
I think Jennings this week has an actual or much more realistic chance to play. Last week, I don't think it was really that realistic. He's dealing with a thumb injury. It's not the fact that he can't run the ball. It's that can he pass protect and not get re-injured, and can he catch the ball? And he finally caught the ball a little bit last week, so I think he's getting closer. So I think Rashad Jennings has a chance to come back this week. But again, it's not like Orleans Darkwa and Bobby Rainey were the problem yesterday, and if Rashad Jennings was on the field, that would have cured anything. So, yes, it could help them. I don't think it makes them a substantially better team if Rashad Jennings comes back this week, because he's still going to be limited in a way when he comes back. I mean, that thumb is still, needs to heal. So, he's going to come back, and maybe this week, probably next week, I think, sometime in the next 2 weeks.
Jordan Raanan, he covers the Giants for ESPN right here on 104.5, the Team ESPN Radio. So, Jordan, what are they doing with that secondary? Trevin Wade, the poor kid, he was hung out to dry last night. Are they going to address any of those weaknesses, or are they just going to wait for people to come back?
Yeah, it's not like there's cornerbacks out there that are capable of coming in and immediately shutting guys down in the NFL. So you got to kind of fix it internally. The good news is that Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie and Eli Apple have a chance to be back this week. So, you at least get one of those two guys back, and I think that'll be a big boost for the Giants. And Matt Burhay also seems like he's on they're optimistic about him that he has a chance to possibly get back this week. So there's another piece that they could get back in the secondary. So you get let's say DRC or Eli Apple. Probably DRC was a little closer this week, obviously, because he dressed. So maybe DRC and Matt Burhay back this week, and then I think you're in much better shape. But you're playing also a much better passing offense, who has Aaron Rodgers off a bye week.
Jordan, what's the story with that defensive front? JPP, Olivier Vernon, we saw them working extra hard in the preseason. They're just not getting after the quarterback, or at least getting to him. Yeah,
there's a lot of things that I think go into this. First of all, I thought Olivier Vernon actually did play well yesterday, though. I thought he had a good game. I know the sack numbers aren't there, but I think he had 3 pressures, a couple quarterback hits. But they are not getting to the quarterback enough. But it's not just them. They don't have any interior rush. I don't think they have an interior sack this year, right? If I remember correctly.
I don't think so, no. Or a turnover.
So, yeah, I mean, and then when you're talking about, and then they come in this NASCAR package, right? And they bring in some of these other guys, and they put them in the interior. Other teams are not scared of that. I mean, that's not Justin Tuck coming on the field.
Right.
It's Owa Odigizua, who doesn't have his first career sack, and Romeo Okwara, who's an undrafted rookie. And, there's a lot of things that go into it. JPP, though, it's not that he's playing poorly, and he's playing a lot, by the way. Both of those. I think that's another thing, is that they're playing these guys so much. I think it would be beneficial to cut down their playing time from, 95% of the snaps to 80% to keep them fresher, so that later in the game they can do more. I think it'll actually increase their productivity. The question is, do they trust the guys behind them to actually do a good enough job? And, right now, they just don't want to take them off the field. So the answer, I guess, is no at this point. So there's a lot of things to that pass rush, I think, that go into it. And you're right, though. They need to get to the quarterback more, and they haven't done it. So it's on everybody. And the number one targets are the guys who are making the most money, which are Vernon and JPP, when that's their job to do it.
Jordan, they come off a loss against the Vikings. Things don't get much easier for the Giants. Next Sunday night, NBC matchup, they take on the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers coming off a bye week. Your level of concern for this defense with that matchup?
Yeah, I think that's a tough matchup for them. I actually just had to make a pick. We do a radio thing each week where we put together a preview. And, and what I said there was, on the road against a quality team, what says to you right now that the Giants can win that kind of game? They haven't been a good playoff team outside their division since 2013. That was when that was against the Packers, and Scott Tolzien started at quarterback. So the last time they beat a playoff team that was not in their division was 2012. So to go and do it on the road, I got to see them do it before I'm confident they could go on a primetime game into Green Bay and have a realistic shot to win that game.
So Jordan, is all hope lost, or are we just waiting to get healthy and see what this team can really do?
I don't think all hope is lost. They're 2-2, but they do need to make sure that it doesn't spiral out of control here in the next couple of weeks, because if they do lose to the Packers and the Ravens, and they're all of a sudden sitting there and they're at 2-4, and the Eagles are already 3-0.
Right.
The Cowboys are 3-1. Even the Redskins are 2-2. If the Eagles are something like, if the Eagles are 4-1, and you're sitting there at 2-4, I mean, you're what, 2.5 games back? And all the Eagles got to do is a split to get there. So, yeah, I mean, 2.5 games back in the NFL with 10 games remaining is a ton. So they'd be in a really rough spot if they lost these next 2 games.
Jordan Raanan, he brings reality to the show, and hopefully they show you something this week in Green Bay. And next time we talk, it's all sunshine and roses, man.
Yeah, well, hey, if they could go on the road in a primetime game into Green Bay off a bye week on a short week and win that game, you have to evaluate the Giants differently. All of a sudden, we've seen something from them that we haven't seen in a very long time and that we haven't seen this year, and that's to be that they played their A game.
ESPN's Jordan Raanan. Jordan, we appreciate you making time for us, brother.
Thank you, Jordan.
You got it, guys. Anytime.